Indie games have something special that sets them apart from any major release. They're made with passion and love in every detail. Often without money or massive marketing campaigns, they deliver experiences that stick with you. Once you play one of these titles, there's no turning back. You'll always want more. It's amazing how independent works can compete with big productions using nothing but creativity and heart. And this list proves it, gathering indies you simply can't miss. Before we start, tell me in the comments which indie game left the biggest mark on your life. I really want to read your answers. And while you're here, subscribe to the channel. We're chasing the 50K milestone, and your help will make all the difference in getting us there. Indika is a bold indie that blends psychological drama and religion into an intense narrative. The story follows a nun in a Russian convent who begins to question not only her faith but her sanity, as she becomes entangled in strange visions and events that defy logic. The plot doesn't shy away from touching on sensitive themes, delivering weighty dialogue, and a journey filled with guilt, faith, and self-discovery. It feels like a conversation with your own demons. Gameplay relies on simple mechanics, exploration, puzzles, and dialogue, yet everything is soaked in tension. The focus isn't on combat or action, but on how you handle each situation. Choices shape the outcome, and every decision feels meaningful. This intimate approach ensures a slow-burning pace that favors storytelling without sacrificing interactivity. The environments mirror the protagonist's emotional burden. Cold corridors, old churches, and Russia's rural landscapes convey a melancholy tone that follows every step. The visual design isn't flashy but deeply impactful, using atmosphere to underline solitude and internal conflict. It's a sad yet fascinating world that pulls you in. What sets Indika apart is its courage to be different. It doesn't try to compete with action-packed blockbusters. Instead, it focuses on telling a story that touches your mind and heart. It's the kind of indie you finish thinking about long after turning off the console. A powerful reminder of the strength of narrative in the indie scene. Katana Zero puts you in the shoes of a professional assassin living in a crumbling city plagued by crime and corruption. The story mixes brutal action with moments of deep reflection, exploring the protagonist's past and the effects of experimental drugs that alter his mind. With constant twists and uncertainty about what's real, the game traps you in a psychological thriller disguised as an action game. The highlight is its real-time combat, fast and lethal. Every enemy can be killed in one hit, but the same applies to you, turning each encounter into a precision-based puzzle. The game encourages trial and error, instantly restarting you after death. The slow-motion mechanic adds style and strategy, letting you plan every move. Environments vary from enemy-packed apartments to neon-lit streets and secret facilities. The style mixes noir cinema with modern pixel art, creating a gritty yet vibrant look. This contrast between stylized visuals and heavy atmosphere gives the game a unique identity that grabs you through both action and design. Katana Zero is more than a game about slicing enemies. It masterfully ties narrative and gameplay together. Every level reveals more of the bigger puzzle, while the relentless pace keeps you hooked. It's one of the most intense indie titles in recent years, praised for both its addictive gameplay and surprising story. Tempest Rising brings back the golden age of real-time strategy games, reviving the feeling of epic battles across vast maps. Set in an alternate future ravaged by nuclear war, it follows the clash between two major factions, the Global Defense Forces, fighting for order, and the Tempest Dynasty, defending authoritarian ideals. A third, mysterious alien force adds chaos to the mix, throwing you into a war with no clear heroes, only conflicting interests. Missions strike a balance between base building, resource management, and territory control, while keeping pressure on your enemies. Each faction offers distinct units, tech trees, and tactics, ensuring varied strategies. Some maps call for lightning strikes with light troops, others reward slow, powerful assaults with super units. You can't rely on formulas, adaptation is key. Environments help tell the story. From ruined cities echoing nuclear destruction to forests tainted by Tempest energy and deserts littered with military ruins, every map feels like a piece of a broken world. Even terrain plays a role, adding strategic weight to each battle. Tempest Rising's greatest strength is showing that classic RTS gameplay can still feel epic today. It doesn't try to reinvent the genre, it just proves that when done right, it still delivers. For those who grew up with Command & Conquer or Red Alert, this is a nostalgic punch that also has the polish to win over new fans. The Long Dark is a survival game that builds its tension from silence and cold. The story begins with Will Mackenzie, a pilot who crashes in a remote region of Canada after a geomagnetic disaster. With no electricity, no communication, and brutal winter conditions, survival becomes a relentless struggle. The story mode Wintermute deepens this setting, as Will searches for Astrid Greenwood, his missing ex-wife. It's a personal narrative defined by loneliness and the hope of reunion. Survival is a constant balancing act. Hunger, thirst, cold, and wildlife are just as dangerous as the environment itself. Finding a cabin could mean safety or disappointment. You'll need to ration food, purify water, hunt, craft clothes, and keep a fire going to avoid freezing. Every small victory feels earned in this unforgiving world. The Canadian wilderness becomes its own character. Snowy forests, frozen lakes, and towering mountains make up a massive and hostile map. The stylized art doesn't lessen the isolation. You'll feel truly alone as wind howls and wolves lurk. Each step forward feels like the wilderness waiting for your first mistake. What makes The Long Dark so respected is its blend of realism and emotional narrative. It's not a survival game full of frantic action, it's about vulnerability and careful planning. Will's journey is a fight not only against the cold, but against loneliness and human limits. That's why it remains one of the most memorable indies of the last decade, redefining the genre with silence and meaningful choices. Everspace 2 expands the first game's vision into a massive space RPG campaign. It follows Adam Roslin, a clone pilot searching for his identity and a place in the galaxy after years of being treated as disposable. This personal journey unfolds amid faction wars, pirates, and megacorporations, blending existential dilemmas with interstellar conflict. The story isn't just background, it gives weight to every mission. Space combat is fast and varied. Ships are highly customizable, from weapons and shields to support systems that drastically alter your playstyle. Fighting enemy fighters demands reflexes and tactics, with positioning and gear choices making all the difference. Massive boss battles require planning and smart use of the environment. The game walks a fine line between arcade action and RPG depth. The universe is vast and full of discovery. Asteroids hide secrets, abandoned stations offer rare loot, and star systems hold countless resources. Each region feels distinct, from visuals to faction control and mission types. This variety keeps the pace fresh and encourages exploration off the beaten path. Everspace 2 proves that space RPGs still have room to innovate. With open exploration, thrilling combat, and a story that explores personal identity in the chaos of space, it delivers one of the most complete indie experiences of 2025. Watching your ship evolve and become a real force in a galaxy at war is truly rewarding. This War of Mine is an indie game that trades heroic fantasy for a brutal look at war. Instead of soldiers or battles, it focuses on civilians trapped in a besieged city, trying to survive as everything collapses around them. Each character has a backstory, weaknesses, and personal dilemmas, and it's up to you to decide how far you'll go to keep them alive. It's not about winning, it's about enduring. Gameplay centers on survival and moral choices. During the day, you manage your shelter-building tools, cooking, healing. At night, you scavenge ruins for supplies, risking your life every time. Do you steal from neighbors or save food for a sick companion? These are the kinds of decisions that hit hard, affecting your progress and your conscience. The setting delivers raw despair. Destroyed homes, burning buildings, and silent streets paint a haunting picture. Every detail tells a story: graffiti on walls, forgotten corpses, and ruined kitchens. The environment isn't just scenery, it builds the immersion needed for every choice to feel painful. This War of Mine is one of the most powerful indies of the last decade because it shows war from the perspective most games ignore. It doesn't offer power or glory, only vulnerability and uncertainty. It makes you reflect on humanity, sacrifice, and survival, delivering an unforgettable experience that set the benchmark for mature storytelling in games. SIFU turns the classic revenge journey into something far more intense and original. The story follows a young martial artist seeking justice against those who destroyed his family, facing increasingly powerful enemies. Its standout feature is the aging mechanic. With each defeat, the character returns older and more technically skilled, but with less health. This cycle forms a symbolic narrative about dedication, sacrifice, and the price of perseverance. Combat is the heart of the game, demanding precision, reflexes, and mastery of movement. Every enemy is a real obstacle, and learning their attack patterns is key to progress. The system blends fluidity and brutality, allowing you to block, dodge, and counterattack in sequences that feel straight out of martial arts films. This design makes even simple encounters memorable, turning each fight into a moment of tension and style. The environments are varied and cinematic, from neon-lit clubs and shadowy warehouses to traditional temples and modern skyscrapers. Each setting reinforces the story and challenges your skills in unique ways. The aesthetic combines realism with artistic flourishes that make you feel like part of an epic choreography. This visual direction gives the game rhythm and a strong identity. SIFU isn't just a stylized beat-em-up, it's a meditation on learning. It shows how practice, failure, and persistence shape both the character and the player. The feeling of finally defeating an enemy that once seemed impossible is unmatched, making SIFU one of the most respected indie titles today. Pathologic 2 is one of the strangest yet most fascinating indie games ever made. Set in an isolated town struck by a mysterious, deadly plague, the story unfolds from various perspectives. Doctors, mystics, each offering a different view of events. The narrative provides no easy answers, diving deep into philosophical dilemmas, collective fear, and secrets that feel larger than the plague itself. Gameplay blends exploration, resource management, and dialogue that demands attention. Time is constantly ticking as you investigate. The disease continues to spread, claiming lives and altering events. Scarcity is brutal. Food, medicine, even money are limited, forcing decisions that never feel truly right. This sense of helplessness is intentional, heightening the suffocating atmosphere. The environments are unsettling, enhancing the game's surreal tone. Empty streets, homes marked with strange symbols, and characters who seem to carry secrets in their eyes all contribute to a haunting vibe. The art direction leans into unease rather than realism, making the town feel like a living nightmare. This unique aesthetic turns the setting into a character in its own right, both mesmerizing and oppressive. Pathologic is remembered as a disturbing experience because it challenges conventions. It's not a comfortable or easily digestible game, but that complexity is what makes it memorable. It mixes psychological horror, non-linear storytelling, and philosophical themes in a way few games dare. Those who take the plunge discover one of the boldest indie titles ever released, one that lingers long after the credits roll. Dredge starts off seemingly simple. You're a fisherman arriving at a remote archipelago in search of work. But the narrative quickly reveals that something is very wrong with the waters, filled with dark secrets and unnatural creatures. As you fish, you uncover remnants of old stories, forgotten legends, and a terrifying truth connecting the locals to the ocean itself. The game is a horror tale disguised as a maritime adventure. Gameplay revolves around exploring the sea, catching various species, and upgrading your boat to reach new areas. The twist lies in the day-night cycle. Daytime fishing feels safe, but when night falls, monsters emerge and paranoia sets in. You must decide whether it's worth the risk to stay out for rare rewards or return to port safely. This constant tension makes even a simple fishing trip nerve-wracking. The settings vary greatly, from peaceful coves to swampy mangroves and seemingly endless depths. Each region hosts unique species and dangers, pushing you to explore despite the risks. The art style shifts from vibrant during the day to oppressive at night, enhancing the contrast between calm and horror. This shifting atmosphere is one of the game's strongest aspects. Dredge stands out by blending the serenity of a fishing sim with the unease of cosmic horror. It delivers an experience that is both relaxing and unsettling, a rare combination. Each voyage holds the question, will you return with fish or a truth you weren't meant to see? That balance is what makes it one of the most talked about indies of 2025. Undertale is one of the most iconic indie games ever made, and for good reason. The story begins with a child falling into an underground world inhabited by monsters. But what starts as a classic adventure soon evolves into something much deeper. Themes of friendship, redemption, and consequence shape the narrative, as your choices radically alter the course of the story. It's a game that explores empathy in a way few others do. Combat is unlike anything else. You can fight enemies or choose to spare them, interacting through unique dialogue and creative mini-games. This mechanic turns every battle into a moral choice, and your decisions directly affect the outcome. There's no right or wrong path, just actions that leave a lasting impact, encouraging multiple playthroughs to uncover all endings. The environments are full of charm, from quirky villages to atmospheric caves, each bursting with personality. Every character, no matter how small, adds life to the underground world. The pixel art style enhances the game's charm, balancing lighthearted humor with moments of melancholy and tension. It's a small game in scale, but massive in heart. Undertale became a cultural phenomenon by proving that indie games can rival big-budget titles in emotional impact. It makes you laugh, reflect, and care deeply through its inventive storytelling. More than just an alternative RPG, it's an experience that changes how you think about choice in games. Gris is one of those indie games that speaks through emotion rather than words. It follows a young woman who loses her voice after a personal tragedy and must journey through a surreal world representing the stages of grief. There's no dialogue, but every environment and mechanic serves as a metaphor for sadness, fear, and eventual acceptance. It's a poetic narrative designed to be felt in every detail. Gameplay is simple and elegant, focused on platforming and exploration. As the journey progresses, you unlock abilities like turning your dress into a heavy block to break through obstacles or gliding through the air with grace. These powers symbolize personal growth and transformation. The pacing is gentle, letting you absorb the emotional and visual beauty of each stage. The environments resemble living paintings, changing with the protagonist's emotional state. Ethereal forests, melancholic deserts, and submerged ruins form an artistic mosaic that impresses at every turn. The visual direction is so powerful that even silence becomes storytelling. It's like walking through an interactive gallery where every color and shape tells part of the tale. Gris touched so many hearts because it delivers something rare, a game that is both art and interactive narrative. It doesn't need combat or complex systems to leave an impression. Its emotional power is enough. A short but unforgettable journey, it proves the power of indies to create deeply human experiences. Aliens: Dark Descent brings the iconic sci-fi franchise into the realm of real-time strategy. You command a squad of Marines investigating and containing a xenomorph outbreak on a space colony. The story maintains the film's signature tension and desperation, emphasizing survival and escape over total victory. It's a narrative of war against an unrelenting threat. Combat plays out in real time with tactical pauses, letting you issue precise commands to your team. Each soldier has a specialization and gains experience through missions, creating strong bonds with the squad. Losing a member isn't just a tactical loss, it's an emotional hit. Missions include rescues, sabotage, and containment, with every outing risking brutal ambushes. The settings are claustrophobic and rich in franchise details. Dark corridors, abandoned labs, and infested colonies all reinforce a constant sense of danger. The atmosphere doesn't let you relax. Every corner could hide a lethal surprise. The game's fidelity to the Aliens universe ensures you feel the same dread as the characters, always expecting the worst behind every door. Dark Descent shines by offering a fresh take on the franchise while staying true to its roots. It combines strategy, survival storytelling, and faithful world building into a surprisingly cohesive package. For fans of sci-fi and space horror, it's an indie title that honors the Aliens' legacy while adding something new. Death's Door offers a melancholic yet charming story. You play as a small crow working as a soul reaper, tasked with collecting spirits who refuse to pass on. Trouble begins when a key soul goes missing, sending you on a journey through a bizarre world full of odd creatures and unforgettable bosses. The narrative blends dark humor with thoughtful reflections on life and death, making it both fun and poetic. Combat is fast-paced and classic. Quick sword strikes, ranged magic, and precise dodging form the core mechanics. Each enemy has distinct patterns, and boss fights become epic tests of reflexes and strategy. Progress feels rewarding as new abilities strengthen your character and unlock previously unreachable areas. The world is interconnected, full of secrets waiting to be found. From fog-covered cemeteries to lush forests and eerie mansions, each region has its own character. The art style combines simplicity with beauty, evoking the feel of a dark fairy tale. This atmosphere brings the game's universe to life, making exploration as compelling as the fights. Death's Door earned acclaim for its balanced blend of challenge, narrative, and unique atmosphere. It's reminiscent of adventure classics, yet entirely its own thing. With sharp action and deep themes, it remains one of the most beloved indie games in recent memory. Outer Wilds is one of the most innovative indie games ever released, and its story is what makes it unforgettable. You play as an explorer in a solar system stuck in a 22-minute time loop, always ending with the sun's explosion. The narrative revolves around uncovering the mystery behind this loop and learning about an ancient civilization that left clues scattered across planets. It's a tale of curiosity, discovery, and the beauty of the unknown. Exploration is the core of the game. There are no enemies or traditional combat, just the freedom to fly between planets, land your ship, and investigate ruins. Progress comes from what you learn, not leveling up or upgrading gear. Each new discovery adds to your understanding, making the sense of growth feel organic and meaningful. The planets are living puzzles. One crumbles in real time, another is ravaged by storms, and one slowly fills with sand. These mechanics turn the solar system into a cosmic riddle. The visual design and soft soundtrack enhance the feeling of awe and contemplation, making the journey as emotionally resonant as it is intellectually satisfying. Outer Wilds is a milestone because it redefines what exploration in games can be. It doesn't spoon-feed answers, but invites deep investigation. It's an adventure that weaves science, poetry, and mystery into something unforgettable. For many, it remains one of the greatest indie experiences ever created. Disco Elysium is a narrative RPG that set a new standard for storytelling in games. You play as a detective in Revachol, a decaying city plagued by corruption, poverty, and ideological conflict. Waking up in a trashed hotel room with no memory after a night of excess, the protagonist must solve a brutal murder while wrestling with his own inner demons. The plot dives deep into politics, philosophy, and existentialism, offering reflections rarely seen in video games. Gameplay revolves almost entirely around dialogue and dice rolls, evoking tabletop RPGs. Each skill represents a facet of the detective's psyche: logic, empathy, intuition, even self-destruction, and these internal voices constantly debate, influence choices, and create inner conflict. Every playthrough is unique, shaped by your decisions and failures, which define not just the case, but who your character becomes. Revachol's atmosphere is bleak and melancholic, filled with grimy streets, decrepit bars, and characters teetering on the edge. Each encounter unveils a piece of the shattered social fabric, from union leaders to corrupt politicians. The painterly visual style reinforces the mood, making the city feel like a living, tragic work of art. It's a setting that breathes alongside the story. Disco Elysium made waves by proving you don't need combat to create tension. It places you in moral dilemmas, heavy decisions, and reflections on identity and failure. It's a game meant to be read, felt, and lived. Interactive literature at its finest. A title studied and praised as one of the most brilliant RPGs of the last decade. Celeste is far more than a challenging platformer. It's a story about self-discovery and overcoming inner turmoil. The plot follows Madeline as she climbs Mount Celeste, a physical journey that mirrors her struggle with anxiety and fear. On the surface, it's simple, but beneath lies a powerful metaphor for battling personal demons. Gameplay is tight and demanding, centered on jumping, climbing, and dashing through intricate stages. Each level feels like a puzzle of skill, requiring sharp reflexes and precision. The difficulty is high but fair, and clearing a tough section is deeply satisfying. For the bravest, optional challenges push the game into brutally hard territory. The vibrant pixel art brings the mountain to life, with environments that evolve alongside the story, from icy caves to shimmering crystal chambers and starlit skies. The atmosphere blends beauty with struggle, perfectly reflecting the emotional journey. It's a world where pain and hope coexist. Celeste earned its place among the best indies by combining technical challenge with a heartfelt message. It reminds you that failure is part of the process and every attempt matters. Few games are as fun and as human. It's a shining example of how simplicity can become something extraordinary. Terraria is one of the most influential indie games ever made, transforming a 2D world into a limitless sandbox of creativity. The story isn't told through cutscenes, but through discovery. You begin with basic tools in a peaceful land, gradually uncovering secrets buried deep beneath. Massive bosses and strange biomes emerge to give meaning to your journey. The gameplay fuses building, exploration, and combat into a compelling loop. Build homes for NPCs, mine for rare ores, or prepare for battles that require planning and skill. The freedom is immense, and progress flows at your pace. One of the game's highlights is how absurdly creative weapons and items become, from oversized swords to chaos-inducing magic spells. Biomes evolve as you advance, revealing deserts, corrupted forests, and even an infernal underworld. Each area offers new resources, enemies, and surprises. The pixel art style might seem simple, but with its vast creature variety and visual effects, it leaves a strong impression. The thrill of digging deeper, never knowing what you'll find, keeps it fresh even today. Terraria is still receiving updates, reinforcing its incredible longevity. It blends creativity and challenge with remarkable balance, appealing to both builders and fighters. Few indies have stayed this relevant for so long, a true sandbox legend. Hades redefined the roguelike genre by fusing gripping narrative with electrifying action. You play as Zagreus, son of Hades, trying to escape the underworld and uncover secrets about his origin. Each escape attempt unveils new dialogue and godly interactions, making the story evolve even in failure. This keeps you hooked every run. Combat is fast, intense, and varied. Use swords, spears, bows, and more, each with distinct styles. Boons from Olympian gods add unique effects, enabling wild builds and fresh gameplay every time. The difficulty is steep, but the persistent upgrades ensure progress even in defeat. Visually, it's stunning. Each underworld layer, from the fiery Tartarus to lush Asphodel, is brimming with detail. The art direction is bold and stylish, making hell feel both beautiful and perilous. It heightens the drama of Zagreus' journey. Hades became a phenomenon by marrying rich storytelling, addictive gameplay, and striking visuals. It's a game you finish, then keep playing to uncover more secrets and experiment with new builds. A genre-defining indie and one of the best of its era. Slay the Spire carved out its own genre by blending deck building with roguelike progression. The story is minimal, but the core lies in ascending a living tower filled with monsters, traps, and tough decisions. The narrative is the climb itself, every step a test of survival and strategy. Combat mechanics are ingenious. Each card is an attack, defense, or skill, and success lies in creating synergistic combos. The tower changes every run, so there's no perfect deck, you must adapt to the hand you're dealt. This randomness, paired with deep strategy, keeps every run fresh and exciting. Enemies and bosses challenge your creativity. Some test endurance, others punish defensive styles, forcing shifts in strategy. Multiple playable characters with unique decks boost replayability. Visually, it's simple but clear, with stylized enemies and crisp combat animations. Slay the Spire became a benchmark by showing how card mechanics can be thrilling and accessible. It balances luck and skill perfectly, delivering addictive gameplay that rewards experimentation. A deceptively simple indie with endless depth, it redefined its genre and continues to inspire new games. Hollow Knight stands as one of the greatest modern indie successes, blending cryptic storytelling, deep exploration, and intense combat. The plot unfolds in Hallownest, a ruined underground kingdom where you control a small knight seeking answers about a plague devouring everything. The story is delivered subtly through cryptic dialogue, item descriptions, and environmental details, encouraging you to piece it all together over time. The gameplay follows the Metroidvania style, with vast interconnected maps that grow as you gain new abilities. Double jumps, dashes, and spells open up previously inaccessible areas, rewarding constant exploration. Combat is tight and unforgiving, demanding sharp reflexes and smart tactics against tough enemies and memorable bosses. Every victory feels earned, reinforcing the challenging atmosphere. Environments are varied and striking, ranging from dark caverns to abandoned cities and decaying gardens. Each region has a unique identity and enemy set, making the world feel alive and mysterious. The hand-drawn 2D art, filled with delicate lines and a gloomy tone, contrasts the cute character designs with the harshness of the journey. All of this makes Hallownest one of the most immersive indie worlds ever crafted. What makes Hollow Knight a classic is how everything works together in harmony. It never explains too much, but trusts your curiosity and skill to uncover its greatness. It's a game of mystery, challenge, and beauty, all in perfect balance, one of the finest indies ever made. Dead Cells is a fast-paced roguelike that mixes Metroidvania elements with explosive 2D action. Its story is deliberately vague. You control a nameless creature reanimated inside a prison. Each run reveals new fragments of lore, hinting at a crumbling world overrun by corruption and failed experiments. This open-ended approach lets you create your own version of what really happened. Combat is quick, brutal, and full of options. Swords, bows, spears, magic, and bizarre weapons can be combined into wildly different playstyles. Death resets your run, but permanent upgrades make you stronger each time. This trial-and-error rhythm becomes addictive, turning each attempt into a learning curve filled with hidden secrets and surprises. Levels are procedurally generated but never lose their identity. From infected dungeons to moonlit rooftops, every area offers distinct enemies and traps that demand constant adaptation. The pixel art is vibrant with striking effects and fluid animations that give the game a chaotic, electric energy. It's a visual feast that matches the intensity of the gameplay. Dead Cells won you over by being tough without feeling unfair. It rewards fast thinking and clever decisions while letting you experiment with your build. It's one of the most addictive indie titles out there, remembered for its challenge and momentum. A true modern classic that still gets new content today. Spiritfarer is a heartfelt and gentle indie about letting go and learning to say goodbye. You play as Stella, a young woman tasked with guiding spirits to the afterlife. The story follows her encounters with different souls, each with their own fears, regrets, and life stories. These connections deepen over time, turning every farewell into a powerful, emotional moment. Gameplay blends resource management with meaningful interaction. On your boat, you build homes, gardens, and workshops for the spirits while bonding with them through cooking, hugging, and simple conversations. There's no rush. The game invites you to slow down and cherish every moment, making each relationship feel special and genuine. The visuals are soft and inviting, with islands, seas, and towns painted in a beautiful, warm style. Sailing between locations is peaceful, and each stop reveals new stories or tasks. The contrast between the calm journey and the weight of its themes creates a unique emotional atmosphere, touching without ever being excessive. Spiritfarer stood out for treating death with honesty and care. It doesn't aim for action or difficulty, but for connection. It can make you laugh one moment and tear up the next, showing that even goodbyes can be beautiful. A memorable experience for anyone who believes games can speak to the heart. Hyperlight Drifter immediately grabs attention with its haunting atmosphere. You follow a sick wanderer searching for a cure and answers in a broken world. There's no dialogue, just symbols, images, and environmental cues. This choice makes everything more mysterious, as even the smallest visual detail could hide a clue about the past. Combat is fast and demands precision. You'll rely on short swords, ranged weapons, and special moves in battles that test both strategy and reflexes. Health is limited and mistakes are costly, keeping tension high. Exploration is non-linear, allowing you to tackle different regions in any order, each filled with tough enemies and hidden challenges. The world is both beautiful and eerie. From lush forests to crumbling cities and forgotten temples, the feeling of exploring a lost civilization is constant. The pixel art is rich with color and detail, turning every screen into a living painting. Even silence feels meaningful, adding to the sense of loneliness and wonder. Hyperlight Drifter became a landmark indie by combining sharp gameplay with minimal yet powerful storytelling. It proves that you don't need words to tell a deep story, just strong visuals and thoughtful design. It's a journey that challenges you in combat and meaning, leaving a lasting impression. Now it's your turn. Out of all these indies, which one deserves to be at the top of your personal list? Drop your answer in the comments. I'm checking every one of them. If you enjoyed the video, hit that like button and subscribe to help us reach our 50K goal. And don't leave without clicking the card. I've lined up an insane Silksong gameplay you've got to see.